a condition that has become increasingly hard to find. For years, new strategies and techniques arose to hold chaos at bay. As expanding mass markets gave way to fragmented, variable customer demand, managers came to rely on buffers and quick fixes to protect their way of doing business. And with bouts of change increasingly driving disruptions and crisis, corporations continued to do what worked so well for them in the past: struggle harder until conditions once again stabilize. A few have come to understand the losing proposition of demanding stability from a world that over the last several decades has become increasingly driven by disorder. Advanced technology and heroic effort can no longer overcome the shortfalls of a system that has reached its limits. What was once a manageable gap has grown to a chasm, one that can no longer be bridged through the methods of the past. The solution is clear. Corporations can no longer thrive on a system that is built on the presumption of stability. Instead, they must prepare for change. Going lean challenges how companies have learned to think about the way they do business. It sets aside the notion that efficient operations and innovation are only possible when business is steady and demand is growing, that disruption and loss are the price that must be paid each time change is introduced. Instead, it shows how a new breed of companies has demonstrated a powerful yet unexpected weapon in the battle against uncertainty. Their lessons strike to the core of what is perhaps today's greatest mystery of success: how one firm's adversity can become another's competitive advantage. This discovery did not come as the result of a single project or event. Rather, it grew from the combined experiences of innovators from diverse industries striving to gain the quality, flexibility, and cost structure they need to compete. More than a decade ago, I first saw the need to pull these lessons together. Immersed in the furious problem-solving that marked the development, production, and fielding of military aircraft, I found that this industry, a beacon of American ingenuity and achievement, was not at all as it seemed. Manufacturing inefficiencies were high, flexibility low, and quality came at a tremendous price. Simply stated, the management of its operations stood in stark contrast to the technological prowess that characterized its products. How could this be? This is the question I spent much of the next dozen years exploring. Fortunately, as my passion for gaining this understanding grew, so did my ability to study and report on it. My first opportunity arrived with my study of 17 aerospace facilities across a dozen major aerospace firms, from GE to Boeing, who granted me and my team of researchers tremendous access to scrutinize their factories. We traced their improvement initiatives from beginning to end, looking to see what had worked and what had not, across practices ranging from lean manufacturing to statistical process control and Six Sigma. I quickly found that things were not as I had imagined. As an engineer, I had been trained to use a straightforward, logical approach to problem solving. I came to believe that finding a solution lies in isolating those steps where problems are most evident and then targeting them for action. What I found to be true was quite the contrary. While most struggled, those who managed to make substantial gains did not do so by giving greater attention to the disruption they could readily see or those problems already at hand. Instead, these companies had reached beneath the surface, taking steps that addressed the underlying conditions that had led to their occurrence in the first place. In doing so, many of the problems they once faced simply went away. By taking a range of internal actions, these firms had made great strides in overcoming the substantial constraints of their external environments. They had been able to mitigate many of the effects of their variability, overcoming huge amounts of waste that had long been seen as a standard and accepted part of doing business. I searched for the means to study this closer. Could these same methods be extended for even greater advantage? Were the steps they had taken transferable to other industries, and could they be applied across broad enterprises? How could companies avoid risk to their operations as they put them in place? Then opportunity struck again. As I set out in a different management position, I was immediately confronted head-on with many of the very same problems that plagued those whom I had previously studied. Charged with leading efforts aimed at mitigating the Defense Department's risk in obtaining a wide range of critical supplies during sudden demand surges, particularly those seen in times of war, I had to find a way.